Hello, I'm John Furrier here at theCUBE at our New York Stock Exchange new studio set. We're here breaking down all the action, connecting Silicon Valley and Wall Street with theCUBE, Silicon Valley in Palo Alto, here in the New York Stock Exchange. Ori Goshen's here, the CEO of AI21, CUBE alumni. Just saw him at the HumanX conference. Ori, great to see you. Thanks for coming in and being our first non-CUBE pod interview here in our new set.
Oh, that's
at
exciting.
NYSE.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great.
That's great.
And we've talked many times on theCUBE, and we saw each other at HumanX. First of all, congratulations to you and your company. Great job seeing the success you and your co-founders have put together. Obviously, you got in early on the front end of this wave, continuing to see the traction. At GTC, NVIDIA's conference last week, I mean, it felt like an Amazon Web Services event, 2013, 2014, when everyone kind of figured it out, like cloud's here, and then the ecosystem is there, the ecosystem's thriving, and you're starting to see NVIDIA's got that two-sided marketplace. It's got to do supply chain and the billions in CapEx, but now on the other side, you have this massive ecosystem, partners, joint development partners, more AI infusing into the system. This is going to be, I think, open up the whole data layer as the performance of more Blackwells, Vera Rubin, the chips that were announced, and the systems are coming, and they're here hitting the table. What are you guys looking at right now for your company? Where are you at in this movement on the wave? How do you describe where you are right now and what you guys are offering?
Right, so first it's always great to look at where we are coming from, or the origin stories of the company, because it's many ways really related to what we do right now and what we're focusing on. So we started the company, and me and my co-founders, back in 2017, early days for deep learning and pre-LLM days.
Yeah.
And in our mission was to create these trustworthy artificial intelligence systems. And in many ways, that mission is more relevant today than it was back then when we started it. What we're seeing right now is just incredible adoption on the consumer side, on the individual level, right? Like, I mean, my mom uses generative AI tools, and I think people are realizing how much potential there are there. But on the enterprise side, it's a very different story. I mean, just look at the numbers. Some of the reports say only 5-6% of generative AI projects actually make it to production, and we believe it's not just a new technology wave and there is a learning curve and so forth. There's actually some fundamental things about the technology that they're more to be built to get it to enterprise grade and also get it to the reliability level that's required to supporting all these mission critical applications. So that's where we started the company, and that's what we're focusing, the problem we're trying to address right now.
Yeah, and the production workloads, it's easy to hit the low-hanging fruit. We saw call centers, anyone with data will get it. Now you get to see the security discussion kicking in. And the one thing I did walk away from the NVIDIA side of the equation is that the AI processing power is, Jensen's really big discussion around reasoning, right? And he's talking about how hard that is to do.
Right.
And as you start getting into that layer, it's going to bring the next layer above the hardware, these systems, the smart software. And you guys have been, always building these services. Like, how do you make it? The word democratization has been used so many times. I'll just say, for the sense of it is a word people use, but in true sense, democratization means making it easy, right?
Sure.
So making it easy and simple to understand if you're deploying. Can you talk about what's going on now that's state of the art for models integrating with each other? Because you're starting to see people come to the realization that it's a data problem, data will talk to each other, the AIs will be doing the work, and the AIs are getting better every day at software.
Right.
And agents are only going to scale that to levels we've never seen before. So what's going on in that layer of AI where, okay, I got the horsepower, I got to get smarter. What are some of the core things that you see that needs to be in the sequence of events of innovation? Is it models talking to models? Is it better software, smarter AIs? Is it the format? What is your take on this? How do you guys see this?
Yeah, I mean, I think the stack is forming. It's been quite liquid in the first few years of this emerging industry. But you're seeing a lot of progress on the hardware side, and you mentioned NVIDIA and Jensen's announcements, which were really impressive. And we've been seeing in the last few years a lot of progress on the model side, right? The models are more capable. Now we have reasoning models that can address more complicated tasks. And I think we all aspire to that vision of having agentic systems in the enterprise, that we can offload work to them, and they can automate a lot of the workflows and a lot of the processes inside the organizations, and in many ways also help us to achieve things that weren't possible. I can see like small organizations that can actually build massive operations that weren't possible before, but there's a gap, okay? Because these models are probabilistic by nature, and with all their power, they're still probabilistic. I mean, sometimes they're brilliant, but other times they're as dumb as nail. Mm-hmm. So you need to find a way to compensate for that. And what we believe is an amazing opportunity is actually a new layer in the stack that's responsible for planning and orchestrating models and tools within the enterprise, and basically supporting these very complex tasks that enterprises are trying to address. And if you have these very reliable layer that reduces hallucinations, that increases the accuracy, that gives more control and visibility towards the process that the enterprises are trying to solve, that actually takes us from potential to production.
Yeah, and the thing that came up in the past 3 events, and again, NVIDIA is fresh in the mind, no matter what industry I went to covering the events, the words trust comes up a lot, practical AI, domain expertise. I mean, Brian Bauman's running a series called MOE, Mixture of Experts, pun intended.
Yeah.
I mean, we brought that up, and a lot of chain of thought going on the podcast on the MOE part, which you're now part of. This is where AI has to get better, because it's not just security, it's just AI, the hallucination, the drift. These are challenges on the software side. So making it practical becomes big. And so I have to ask you, when you look at these like regulated industries, they have a high bar.
Yeah, absolutely.
In enterprises, the systems are brittle. Sometimes manual hooks are put together. I mean, you can't just go in there and tinker around. You got to build on top of it. So I want to know more about this orchestration layer you're building, because does that abstract on top of?
Yes.
And what does that do for, say, people trying to deploy, practical AI, or AI that they can get ROI out of?
Yeah, no, it's exactly. I think it's the right question. The regime currently, the way developers are approaching for building, these agentic workflows, is they either use these models, these reasoning models or large language models, as the controllers over the process. We call this prompt and pray. You prompt the system and you hope for the best. And after putting this like in a demo and realizing that this is pretty brittle, then people switch to what's called static chaining. They hard codify the process, they engineer it, and they make a lot of engineering design choices, like what's the best way to retrieve information, what's the best way to use APIs within the organization, what's the best way to prompt the models, which models to prompt. Like, there are a lot of design choices that developers do right now. And we think there needs to be a system that automates that.
Yeah, no one likes the word static, by the way. Static is like monolithic. Yes. No one likes those words anymore. I mean, static, chaining, exactly. Hard coding.
But that's what happens in practice. Yeah. That's what we see developers do. So we think there's a planning and orchestration layer that automates, that abstracts a lot of the complexities for these developers. It optimizes for accuracy. It's a new contract with AI. I mean, developers would specify the task that they're trying to solve, not by only prompting, but also explicitly telling what are the requirements, what are the guarantees they expect from the system. And then you have a whole new layer that's responsible for automating and make sure those requirements are satisfied. That's a new paradigm.
Yeah. And just, we were talking before we came on the podcast on camera here about AI21 name. Used to be AI Labs, now AI21 Labs, now it's AI21. And I made the joke, it'd be 21 to drink the AI. And you said, no, it means 21st century.
Yeah.
Explain the origin of the name, how that came about, and then some of the investors you guys have.
So when we started a company, we call it AI21, AI for the 21st century. And the idea was to take AI beyond pure deep learning. And we all know pure deep learning, this basis for all these large language models and reasoning models, is great. And it's a necessary condition, but it's not sufficient. And the original mission was, how can we robustify, how can we build a technology that is both very capable but also trustworthy? And we thought that's actually AI for the 21st century.
Not to come back to NVIDIA's GTC again, but one thing I love about Jensen is that, and they're an investor too, right?
Yes.
NVIDIA put money in?
Yeah.
And Google, two big AI companies. Jensen's the only CEO in the industry that uses the word computer science multiple times in his keynote. He constantly references computer science. He's hardcore computer science, we know him, so it's great to see that. Actually, the original tagline for SiliconANGLE is where computer science and social science meet from 2009 when we started SiliconANGLE, so we're staying true to our North Star. But talk about computer science. You mentioned deep learning, because what I like about why Jensen says that is because there's a resurgence in computer science, and not just coding. Not just software engineering. When I went to college, it was called software engineering, computer science degrees. They worked on hard stuff like operating systems, compilers, heavy stuff when I got my degree. But now computer science seems like there's a whole renaissance. And you can see it in his nerdiness on this keynote and what NVIDIA is doing for products. So what's in your view, what is the core fun and key areas right now in computer science? Because everything kind of matches the same rhythm that what Jensen's saying. IT wasn't built for AI. And so things that were pre-existing or incumbent systems or software or databases kind of don't work well in AI. So you kind of got to be flipped upside down and be more foundational, less a technology.
Right.
What is your take on the computer science as AIs come in as a foundational element? There's science involved, there's engineering. What's your view on this whole computer science piece of it?
For sure. I think we've had a lot of predictive models. Like if you look at data science in the last 10 years or so, there are a lot of very powerful predictive models, that are actually being used today in production. I think now there's a way to interact with those internal tools in a much more, the opportunity is to be able to make them much more accessible and interactable. Like if you can, in a simple language, describe what you want, and behind the scenes there will be very complex tasks that will do all these predictions for you and will give you a lot of an analysis power. That's huge, and it's applied for, if you think about it, on almost any scientific domain. But what I'm really excited about, and I think also Jensen mentioned this in his keynote, is the industrial revolution, right? Companies, IT departments are going to look very different in the future. We're going to have these AI builders, AI engineers in the enterprise that will build not 1 or 10, there will be hundreds or thousands of these AI applications. And those AI applications will become almost the operating system of any company. So it's a very exciting vision and future that's ahead of us. But also, we need to make sure these systems are trustworthy. That's almost like a necessary condition.
Yeah, I call it, we're entering in the age of the Lego engineer, right? I mean, think about it. Anyone can build whatever, get the right Legos, you can do anything. I want to talk about what's going on with your business right now. Obviously, you're years into it, the waves hitting, great reality. On the hype side too, you're starting to see some rationalization around that. Practical AI is booming.
Yes.
And then, AI scaling is coming fast. That's when every company has using it, not just machine learning, but generative AI in the process. What's new going on with you guys at HumanX? You talked about Maestro, which I think is the not observability, but the pipelining and kind of like the management of the tools. Taking up, what's going on with the new stuff there? What are you guys currently working on? That's cool.
Yeah, so at HumanX, we announced Maestro. It's our AI planning and orchestration system. And it's really a new way for companies to build these agentic systems that they can trust. So the Maestro can use multiple models. It's model agnostic. It can learn the tools, the specific tools of the enterprise, like which APIs, which databases, and it learns the specific enterprise environment. And then given a new task that a builder is trying to develop, it actually optimizes what is the best path, what is the best plan, and what is the best path to realize that plan. And that needs a lot of deep technology and a lot of algorithmic innovation. We've kind of stayed true to our our DNA and to our North Star. We're a deep tech company, so we want to build like differentiated hard technology, and we are targeting the enterprise, trying to solve their most challenging problems. And so we built this product with kind of enterprise developers in mind, and provide them with the tools they need to take those amazing, agentic ideas to production.
Give an example of that in the use case you're looking at for that. Give me a slice of life. What's that like using Maestro?
Yeah, so think about an organization that needs to create financial reports at scale, and like hundreds of financial reports per day, very nuanced, very detailed. The cost of doing mistake is high, and so you need to find a mechanism of how to validate, how to make sure you invest the appropriate amount of compute to make sure the results are actually accurate and give the visibility. Like you want to have a full understanding, visibility, execution graphs that can provide of what happened behind the scenes. I mean, these industries cannot work with black boxes. So we're helping these financial institutions to control over the accuracy and the cost of applying these agentic systems in the enterprise.
Talk about your customer base right now. Who's using the services? What's the software being deployed on? Take us through some of the customer action.
Yeah, we work with for Fortune 100 companies. We work with retail, finance, energy,
enterprise AI,
large enterprise organizations that want to adopt AI. We work with some of the largest organizations in the world. One example I can share: we work with Fnac. It's one of the largest European retail company, and we help them, just doing amazing things for their internal processes and workflows in their enterprise.
What are some of your goals for this year on your plate? What are you trying to accomplish?
So my goal is, powering a number. So we're not optimizing for huge amount of customer base, but we want to partner with a few organizations and help them go from, let's say, tens of use cases in production to thousands. That would be a huge success, for these companies and for our product, actually showing the value and how fast they can adopt this technology at scale.
What do you think the blocker is right now from the production workloads getting in? Is it just evolution, timing, just where it is in the industry that the clients are getting ready, or have their readiness, as they say, AI readiness kind of checked off? Is it security, resilience? What are some of the things that you're seeing that might be slowing everything going to production, or just that the approval processes and Machine learning's been in production
Yeah,
for years.
yeah,
I mean, but
yeah.
generative AI is moving fast.
Yeah, yeah. So what we see is a lot of experimentation, massive experimentation, and there are many considerations, as you mentioned, but the two I'd like to highlight are efficiency, like the cost is still very computationally expensive, unlike traditional software. So the costs are a factor, and when you move to this agentic era where more complex tasks, then latency, the time that actually takes to fulfill a task, is also a very important consideration. And then the second one, is probably the most sensitive one, is the accuracy. There's still, I mean, there's use cases that the 85% accuracy is just not good enough.
So if someone asked you, what's AI21's secret sauce, what would you say?
So we build very efficient foundation models. We build them on an alternative architecture that, I mean, everybody's using transformer architecture. We use a hybrid state space model and transformer architecture, which makes our models really performant, and especially for long sequences. So it can process long documents, long books, very fast, and reliably, because it's optimized for these more enterprise types of use cases. So we have that foundation layer that we use as part of our stack. And the second piece is our planning and orchestration layer. That's really a new approach for builders to build those agentic systems. And we have a lot of algorithmic innovation applied in this layer to get to the level of reliability that's expected.
I know you got to go, but you mentioned performance is key because like first token out matters on inference, training's a little bit different, that changes storage real quick. How is storage going to change? You saw a lot of new HBM, you got capacity tiers with SSDs coming fast. Storage is kind of flipping on the script there too. You heard that recently at GTC as well.
Right. I mean, and as these systems in enterprise need to retrieve more information, because the model is the model and it's inferencing, but it's based on data that you retrieve into. So you need, you need fast access, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of innovation on that front as well.
Great to have you on theCUBE. Thanks for coming in to our new studio.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. That's really
great to see
amazing.
You. Congratulations. First one in.
Oh, yeah.
First CUBE interview here on our new set, our dedicated studio. Got 2 sets here near Stockton. John Furrier, theCUBE. Thanks for watching.